the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
2026 recruit that you think is the most important for Tennessee to close with this summer, that they're in the running with, that they've had in these OVs the last couple of weeks, that, you know, some of them crystal balls, whether that's for TJ White and we'll see on Braden Roos from Kell. Like, who is it for you that you're like, man, Tennessee's got to get this guy in the class?
I'm going to go Darius Gray on the offensive line. And if you're, talking about how you're on the Merklinger train,
yes.
Chase, I'm sorry.
Hey, Jake Chase, we're all the same. We're just elite in East Tennessee figures. I
am a guy that has been kind of critical of Glenn Ellerbe at times. And to me, it's a big kind of prove it next couple years for him, because I think him coming in got the benefit of a lot of really good guys on paper that were some Pruitt recruits that were holdovers that were coming through. And you got a chance to kind of get a fifth year and a COVID year with some of those guys. And then you plug in place with a few pieces in the transfer portal. You haven't necessarily seen the homegrown talent kind of develop in that sense. And so, and you've missed out, frankly, on a couple of those big 5 stars. You've gotten it in David Sanders, but in years past, the Francis Maguas and the Jordan Seatons of the worlds. If you can go in there and you can land these elite 5-star offensive line talents, to then couple that with the quarterbacks that you're bringing in pretty much yearly now on an elite basis. If you can get a guy like a Tristan Keys to flip, you feel like you've kind of gotten that elite wide receiver chip. You gotten it with Mike Matthews a few years back. I look a lot at that offensive line in terms of just how this Tennessee offense rolls. It's a run game. It's an offense that is predicated on the run game as well. That's been something that you've been pretty good at, but I just feel like homegrown talent and development wise, I feel like there's a little bit left to be desired with Glenn Ellerbe's group. And so getting a guy like Darius Gray, who just kind of feels like a no-brainer, almost a day one type of starter, to me, that kind of helps expedite that process. So I'm going to stick in the trenches and I'm going to go with him.
Gray is kind of like Hyder to me, where because you see him as an interior guy, like I have a hard time going high NIL for a guard. If he was someone you think you could still split out to tackle, I would go a high number there. But man, like, you've been able to work outside of center, because I think Cooper, obviously, as a 4-star guy, you have Satterwhite and Anderson. And when you bring in a guard, like, center is extremely important. So if he's ultimately can be a center, then I'm more intrigued. Guard, I just feel like, man, you can plug and play so many different guys. Like, Ollie was great at guard, Sprags. Like, you go up and down the list and they're fine. In terms of Carbon was solid as well. Like, I'm not really as worried. And the Glenn Ellerbe part of it, I'm I guess a Glenn Ellerbe defender in terms of the coach. Like, I can understand like the evaluations, because it's a big year for his evals. Like, I'm not even giving him credit for the Sanders eval. Like, we're not doing that. Like, Sanders is the number 1 overall
Can't
tackle.
miss.
Like, it's just, that's not a thing. It's not like, hey, hear about this guy? Like, Ellerbe was not early on. Like, David Sanders, you hear about him? You see this guy, number 1 overall? I think he might have something here. We should look at him. I don't think that's the case. I will say, though, he deserves a bunch of credit for the 2022 season, having the tempo and having the luck that they had, where Will Anderson and Dallas Turner were on opposite edges in that Alabama-Tennessee game. And he made it work with a mixture of J.J. Crawford and Gerald Mincey. And you never once noticed Gerald Mincey and J.J. Crawford, other than Crawford puking on that awesome play at left tackle. But that's what he was rolling with at left tackle. And Bama they never got at Hendon Hooker. Like, that was never something outside of the botched fumble that they pick up in the end zone and everything else. But that was still not like a edge or a tackle issue for Tennessee. So I don't know. He like develops what he has outside of last year too at right tackle, where again, I don't even know if that's Ellerbe's fault, because it was just injuries to John Campbell and he had a bad year. You get Lance Hurd and it took a while for him to get acclimated. I'm not really going to put that on him either. And I don't know, Cooper developed really well. He turned Donnell Wright into a top 10 pick. Ollie Lane turned into becoming a great guard for Tennessee. He was great there. Sprags was great for many years under Ellerbe. The problem is he just hasn't developed anybody he's scouted. Like, it's just one of those where the guys he's brought in. And this year, better be Satterwhite or Shamu Marov or Max Anderson along with David Sanders, because you can't hide anymore. Like, to your point, all the Pruitt guys are gone. Like, this is now your team and your transfers and your freshmen and your guys and your evals. So it's a big eval year for him, but I will contend he's a big part of the reason that Tennessee's been able to run the ball 5 yards carry all the last 4 years, and also that Tennessee doesn't have a sack problem year over year. Like outside of last year with the right tackle, Tennessee's been okay.
Yeah, and maybe I sound a little too critical there. Maybe I should rephrase it and say he's done a good job of refining players. Is he going to be able to go develop guys? I guess is maybe what, and I think we're probably finding some common ground there because, you know, all those guys that you mentioned, you're right. It's not guys that he's just brought in through the high school ranks and it said, hey, you've been in my system for a year now. We need you to plug in place here. You go do it. You know, it's kind of been either a holdover guy or a transfer.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.